finals. And so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened. You know, I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments. And so all I'll say is just, you know, it's obviously been a tough.
Everyone assumed she would just wait her time, smile for the cameras, and take everything in stride. They believed that Caitlin Clark would be appreciative just to be in the building. I am glad to learn from the legends while sitting at the end of the bench. However, it seems that the WNBA overreached its greatest star. The repercussions are now coming in like a wave of titles. According to reports, the Golden Girl of women's basketball has reportedly told insiders that she is no longer interested in playing for the Indiana Fever. The most bizarre aspect is that she was not just shoved out by the players. It seems that Cathy Engelbert, the commissioner, may have inadvertently validated the poisonous atmosphere that resulted in this startling choice. Walking away has replaced waiting for her time in the story. The league is about to lose its most precious asset on the global scene if the rumors are accurate. It all began with what many consider to be the worst roster error in sports history, a choice that influenced all that came after. The moniker that was creating all the excitement, selling out venues and boosting TV ratings was nowhere to be seen when the Indiana Fever team for Paris was unveiled, claiming that Clark had not yet paid her dues and that the squad required seasoned chemistry to win the gold. The selection committee ducked behind the pretext of experience. But let us face it, no one ever believed that it was intimate. Before she ever took the floor, the decision-makers chose to sit her for the whole summer, while everyone was watching her trademark threes and eye-catching assists. The youngster received a clear, loud message. You may be wealthy and well-known, but you are still not one of us. However, that rejection was just the beginning. If keeping her off the roster was a sign of indifference, what transpired within the league once the game began was an outright attack. It was open season on Clark as soon as the season began. And if you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 83% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video. We saw blindside hip checks, including the notorious incident with Chindy Carter that caused Clark to fall to the ground before the ball was even in play. We saw continual physical targeting, face guarding, and violent shoves that went much beyond typical basketball competition. However, the players were not the only ones doing it. From the top, it was a deafening quiet. It seemed as if the WNBA league management was indifferent to its rookie sensations hazing on national television. They declined to sanction players right away before the public outcry became too loud to ignore, and they allowed the story to get out of hand. They were hesitant to raise fouls to flagrant. A moment that altered everything resulted from this lack of protection. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert intervened and put petrol on the fire just as things seemed to be calming down. She attempted to minimize the animosity aimed at Clark in a recent CNBC interview that can only be defined as a public relations disaster by drawing comparisons to the rivalry between Magic Johnson and Larry Bird in the 1980s. She spoke about marketing value and how important this rivalry was to the league's business. As she sat there grinning, she utterly failed to denounce the very real, ominous clouds of bigotry and hatred that had been looming over the players and the fan base. It was a huge mistake. She effectively confirmed Clark's sentiments of loneliness by seeing the hatred and physical targeting as simply another business indicator to be used. It made it very evident that the league is more interested in drama and money than in the players' safety and mental health. The commissioner's remarks sparked an instant and intense criticism. The WNBA Players Association, which often supports the league's expansion, had to release a statement distancing itself from Engelbert's viewpoint. It was left to athletes like Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart to speak out against bigotry in sports, something the commissioner refused to do. However, it was probably already too late for Clark. Imagine being the employee who brings in record profits, charter flights for everyone, and huge TV agreements only to have your manager go on national television and claim that those who are criticizing you are just beneficial to the company's bottom line. That is a type of treachery that causes someone to reconsider their allegiance, and it is precisely the source of the leave rumors. Without addressing the elephant in the room, you cannot discuss this subject. The old guard's ingrained animosity. The same legends and group of friends that have played together for more than 10 years have controlled the Indiana Fever for years, making it a closed club. For months, there have been rumors that several seasoned players expressed their desire to avoid the Caitlin Clark circus interfering with their chemistry in Paris. Basketball fit was not the only factor. It had to do with the spotlight. Clark was about to face reality. As Diana Taurasi memorably warned, this comment did not hold up, well, as Clark went on to lead the league in assists and set rookie records. The veterans believed they were safeguarding their heritage and the purity of their locker rooms by excluding her from competing in the Olympics. Rather, they may have dissevered the link to the next generation. Yes, they won the gold, but they lost the PR battle and turned off the millions of new fans who came only to see number 2 to AT this point. The narrative takes a dramatic and irreversible change. Insider rumors and fresh conjecture suggest that Clark is not only lamenting the loss of the Paris trip while lounging at home. She is supposedly taking action to save her own reputation. According to rumors, Clark has chosen to divert her attention from a massive national program after being benched by the Olympic Committee, physically attacked by her colleagues, and left unprotected by the commissioner. It is a really powerful move. She is aware that she is the source of the ratings. She is aware that she is the main driver of ticket sales and jersey sales. She does not need them if the Indiana Fever does not want her. She is aware that she is now larger than the badge. Rumor has it that she has discreetly indicated that, should the present culture continue, she has no interest in accepting invitations in the future. The consequences will be enormous if this walkout is genuine. We are discussing the possibility that league politics and a lack of support may compel the sport's biggest face to decline to represent the nation. It entirely flips the roles. The WNBA and the Indiana Fever relied on the notion that athletes need the system in order to thrive, and that winning an Olympic medal is the ultimate reward. However, Clark has shown that she is the system. She purportedly leaves the national team, depriving them of their most valuable marketing resource for the 4 years before the Olympics in Los Angeles. The commissioner is in the dark about this impending financial catastrophe. For LA 2028, they required her image on the billboards. They are attempting to market a product that the new enormous audience is not purchasing without her. Let's examine the figures because, should Clark indeed go, they provide a dire picture for the league. Prior to her arrival, the WNBA was having trouble making money by playing in half-empty venues and flying commercial flights. League-wide attendance has increased by more than 40% after her draft selection. The league inked a record media rights agreement worth more than $2 billion, and TV viewership has tripled. All the veterans now enjoy better travel circumstances and greater incomes thanks to that money. The irony is oppressive. She is being treated like an outsider by the league administration and the veterans. However, they are all cashing the checks written by her fame. She is essentially taking her ball and leaving the national team to depend on the elderly guard, who just do not move the needle in the same manner if she chooses to concentrate just on the Indiana Fever and disregard the team's international responsibilities. Don't understand why Clark would make such a severe choice. It is actually necessary to examine the particular situation involving the commissioner. Engelbert changed to a business response regarding rivals when questioned about the worst aspects of social media conversation, such as racism, sexism, and threats. She attempted to compare it to the intense NBA fights of the 1980s, even if past conflict were physical. The kind of poison we are seeing now was not there. For a young athlete like Clark, who has been quiet and professional throughout it all, it must have seemed like she was saying, as long as people are watching, we do not care how they treat you. It confirmed all conspiracy theories that the league secretly despises her success and uses her for influence. Not to mention the chemistry justification that prevented her from competing in the Olympics. The selection committee said that they were short on time to include her into the system. They said that her fast-paced, high-usage, deep shooting style of play would not work well with the veterans' deliberate, sluggish approach. However, the absurdity of that argument was evident to everyone who watched the WNBA All-Star Game. Clark and the other WNBA players played against the Olympic team in that contest, and they destroyed the Olympic team. Clark was hitting shots, dropping dimes, and quickly improving her teammates. It demonstrated that the chemistry problem had nothing to do with basketball. It had to do with ego that Clark's squad seemed to be the future. While the Olympic players were sluggish and disorganized, the quit story changed from a rumor to a clear probability after the game. Why would she want to participate in a system that intentionally bets against her playing style? The Cheryl Swoops factor is another. The WNBA legend has been one of Clark's most outspoken detractors, continuously shifting the definition of excellence. Swoops has been the voice of the resentment of the older generation, from downplaying Clark's records to falsely saying that she played for 5 years in college. Nevertheless, the league has been using her for analysis and commentary. For Clark, seeing the league compensate someone who deliberately works to undermine her accomplishments is simply another indication of contempt. The workplace is poisonous. In any other position, HR would step in if a senior consultant misrepresented a high performer's resume in public. It is only material in the WNBA. She probably wants to disassociate herself from the inner circle of the league because of this ongoing erosion of her credibility. Clark's camp silence says it all. Usually, a PR representative or agency would intervene to put an end to rumors like the spiral. Caitlin is happy to serve her nation and looks forward to future possibilities, they would say in a statement, but we have not heard anything. It is a deafening hush that IT implies that significant discussions are taking place behind closed doors. It implies that she is considering her alternatives and recognizing that she has complete control. The Olympics are not necessary for her to develop her brand. She is already a worldwide celebrity. However, her continued relevance to casual fans is crucial for the Olympics. Consider the physical toll this season had on her. The full court pressure, the persistent double teaming, and the uncalled physical punches. Despite taking the most hits and playing the most minutes, she managed to lead her team to the playoffs. After all that, she received commissioner who was unable to protect her reputation from abuse rather than the league's backing. It is a quintessential instance of a company failing its top personnel. And the NBA, players who feel mistreated have been known to demand trades or to sit out games. In essence, Clark is making a global load management choice. She is putting her physical and emotional well-being ahead of a gold medal that the committee initially opposed. There has been a civil war among fans in response to all of this. The original WNBA supporters, on the one hand, believe that Clark is overhyped and that the league was good before she joined. Millions of new admirers, on the other hand, believe that Clark is being harassed and abused. This gap is detrimental to the company. It is the commissioner's responsibility to close that divide and bring the fan base together. Rather, her remarks deepen the rift. She alienated the new followers who are protective of Clark by stating that she sees the issue as a marketing ploy. Those supporters will follow Clark if she leaves the Indiana Fever. They will not watch a team that turned down their favorite player. This year's Olympic ratings were great, but without Clark, the 2028 home games in Los Angeles might be disastrous. The Angel Reese factor is another important consideration. The most exciting thing in athletics is the rivalry between Reese and Clark. The league has had trouble handling it since it was born in the collegiate championship and moved over to professional ranks. They have let it become ugly, with players encouraging the toxicity and supporters going too far because it produced clicks. The league let the story go wild when Reese applauded her colleague for hip checking. However, hard fouls and hard-nosed basketball are two different things. Every time, Clark has chosen a high road, refusing to play the victim or participate in the trash talk. Everyone, however, has a breaking point. There are significant ramifications for 2028 if she decides to leave the Indiana Fever. This might be her discreet professional way of stating, "I am done with the turmoil." It is believed that the Olympics in Los Angeles will be the pinnacle of American women's sports. The WNBA is expected to take over the globe at this point. But without the world's most well-known female athlete, that moment would not be possible. The U.S. squad will still be strong if Clark remains steadfast in her refusal to participate. They will not be cultural icons despite their extraordinary depth. All they will be is a basketball squad. Clark adds the element of fame. She attracts those who have no interest in basketball. The event loses its appeal without her. The panic is beginning to set in since the commissioner is aware of this. Subscribe and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one after you click the video on your screen.